So now I am making my seitan. Steamy and delicious. I make this out of vital wheat gluten, you guessed it. This is like my replacement for chicken, and I absolutely love this recipe. It gives me a lot of great protein, and it's really easy. It's also cheaper than what you can buy in the store if you bought the seitan there, and it's also oil free, so that's really important to me. To get started, I have already put 6 cups of water in this pot, and I'm going to turn it on medium so we can get a nice little simmer going. And then for my vital wheat gluten, I use 125 grams, and that is going to make 4 servings. So put it on in there. 125 grams of vital wheat gluten, and we're going to do 3 tablespoons of garbanzo bean flour. Level it off as best as you can. 2. 3. My little office supplies to close my bags. Yep, that's me. And then I use 2 teaspoons of that. And then I also throw in a teaspoon in the boiling mixture. We're gonna do 2 today. So liquid aminos is like soy sauce without all the sodium and way less carbs, and it even has 0.5 grams of protein, so there you go. Also 100% optional. I usually don't add it, but this time I'm going to, because I usually add it to the meal that I eat my seitan with anyway. And it is nutritional yeast, and we're going to do 5 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. 5 nutritional yeast is going to give it that nice, good, nutty flavor. Throw on some poultry seasoning. Probably about half a tablespoon if you want to get all measury. Usually I just dump it on in there. Half a tablespoon plus some. Dump it on in there, and then I also dump it into the broth as well. Some liquid smoke, that's gonna give it that little meaty flavor that it's gonna be really good. And I usually do a tablespoon of it, a teaspoon of it, the mixture, and then also do 2 teaspoons into the broth. And then I put in a cup of water and I mix it together. So you can see how it mixes. It makes kind of like a dough. And really that's all there is to it. Just that 1, 2, essentially 3 ingredients, 4, 5, 6 if you want it to be a little bit better. Honestly, not intimidating. It took me forever to try to make my own seitan because I was just really intimidated by it. But it's not an intimidating process. It's super simple, super easy. You knead that up. You'll break it into 4 pieces and throw it in your simmering pot and let it simmer for an hour. Honestly, not difficult at all. With the vital wheat and gluten though, you do want to knead it and mix it for quite a while, so that's why I'm waiting for my pot to simmer while I'm mixing. Okay, so here is my dough, and it is thoroughly been kneaded and pressed. It's really important to get in there with your hands so you can make sure that there's no like clumps. And now I'm gonna break it into 4 pieces. The pieces kind of look small at first, but trust me, they will expand in the pot of water while they are simmering. So I'm gonna let those rest for a good 5 minutes. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes and they have rested, and we are gonna plop them in. Here we are plopping them in there. So very careful, very careful. They'll sink all the way to the bottom, which is what you want at first. And when they start to be towards the middle of done is when they will float to the top. So there you go. And just keep an eye on them. Let it simmer, but don't let it boil. You can also lightly fluff it around with a fork. Make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. It's kind of hard to tell with the broth though, and you do want the broth to be that color. So as you can see, the seitan has rose to the top, and it's like almost doubled in its size. So I'm gonna call this done, and I'm gonna put it in a container and show you how that's gonna work. So now I'm gonna turn off the heat on that, and I'm gonna pour it into the container. So steamy. See, there's our little seitans, and I'm just gonna leave them right in the broth. And there you have it. You've got your seitan chicken prepared for the week. Or for the next 4 meals. There you go. Steamy and delicious.